Okay, class, I am not going to be in class today because I'm at a meeting, but if you have any questions, just stop by at the end of the day. I am in the building, okay? So, here's what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about finding area and rectangles of parallelograms, but first we're going to start with this warm-up. So you're given 30, 60, 90, 45, 45, 90. Pause this video right now to complete these two problems. You're finding the measurement of each one of these sides. Pause it now. Okay, so starting off with number one, we want to look at what we have, and what we have is we have the fact that this side is going to be 8 here, okay, and so across from 8 is your 90-degree angle, which aligns to 2n from your 30, 60, 90-degree angle, okay. So what we have is we're going to have to find n by setting 2n equal to 8, and so n would be 4, okay? From there, you need to figure out n is always across from 30 degrees, and also what's across from 30 degrees is y, so y is 4, okay? And then for x, well, that's your 60-degree angle. In your ratio, it's n root 3, so for x, you're just going to have 4, which is n, and then add a root 3, so these would be your two answers, okay? For number 2, you're looking at what side is across from, or I'm sorry, which angle is across from the side that's labeled, okay? So across from 6 is your 90 degrees and a 45, 45, 90. That's going to be n root 2. So I'm going to set n root 2 equal to 6 and solve for n. That's going to be by dividing by root 2, so you're going to get n is equal to 6 over root 2. But of course, you cannot leave it like that because you have a root in the denominator, so you need to rationalize it by multiplying top and bottom by that root, okay? So you're going to get n is 6 root 2, and then root 2 times root 2 is root 4. Square root of 4 is just 2, okay? You can simplify this even further. You can do 6 divided by 2, which is 3. So you're going to have n be 3 root 2. Now, the nice part of that is n is always across from 45 degrees. Looking at my triangle now, what's across from 45? It's going to be both A and also B. So A and B are both going to be equal to that. So that can be your final answer. Okay? So why we did this is because now we're going to use special right triangles to help us find the area and perimeters of rectangles and parallelograms, okay? So here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to start off pretty simple, but before I do that, here's the calendar. So our test is not until after spring break, just because we have spring break and then the SAT, PSAT in between. So our test will not be until the 18th. I'll go through this calendar more tomorrow when I'm here, but I'm sorry, Tuesday, because you guys are not going to be here tomorrow, nor will I, okay? And so we'll talk about the calendar more then, okay? But our test isn't for a while. Alright, so here's what we're going to start off with. We're going to start basic. You want to take out that half sheet that I placed on the front desk, and I want you to complete the 4 problems that are listed up there. First off, before you pause this video, okay, area of a rectangle is length times width, so just multiplying those two. And then area of a parallelogram is base times height. You want to take that height that's your vertical height. So you don't want to take the slanted height. Make sure you take the vertical height, okay? So what I want you to do is with that half sheet of paper that I placed on the front table, okay, I want you to find the area of each one of these 4, okay? Pause this video now so that you can see the areas. Okay. So let's look at each one of these, okay? So what you're going to have is, for the first one, you're going to have to multiply 3.7 times 10.5, and that's going to give you 38.85, but you want to make sure you have units. Area is kilometers squared. You always want to square your units, okay? So that's for the first one, okay? For the next one, why is it doing that? Don't start with me. Okay. All right. So for the next one, you want to do 16.4 times 11.8, and that's going to be 193.52. You want to make sure you're using units, and that's going to be squared. Okay, for area. Area is the only one that's squared. For perimeter, it's just going to be the units itself. Okay. For example, 3 and 4, you want to take that perpendicular height that's staying straight up. So I'm going to take 7.1 and then multiply it by 12.9, and that's going to be 91.59 inches squared. Okay. And then finally, for number 4, you're going to take the perpendicular that's staying straight up. That's going to be 16.1. So don't take the 18.5. You multiply 11.8 times 16.1, you're going to get 189.98, and it's meters squared. Okay, so that's the basic understanding of area and area of a rectangle and a parallelogram. But of course, we're going to make it a little bit harder just because you guys are in high school. So let's make it a little harder, okay? Okay, so we're going to look at an application problem now, okay? Here's what a problem would look like on the test, okay? It says Lisa works in the billing department. I'm not going to read all this, but she wants to contract a new countertop and tabletops for her clients. What it says that is each tabletop costs $8.50 per square foot. She needs to calculate the area, compute the charge, and bill each customer properly. Okay, so let's look at a picture where we have countertops. Okay, so these are the countertops that Lisa is going to be building, the blue countertop and the red countertop. This is also known as a composite figure because it's formed from 2 or more shapes. So in this case, it's going to be 2 rectangles. Okay. Okay, so knowing that, what we want to do is we want to find the area of this shape. You're going to break it down to find the area of the blue shape and then find the area of the red shape. So for the blue shape, your dimensions are 2 and 3 feet. So you want to do 2 times 3, and that's going to give you 6 feet squared for that blue one up here. Okay, how I know it's feet is that 1 tick mark indicates feet, 2 tick marks indicates inches. Okay, for the red one, you're going to do 6 times 2, and that's going to be 12 feet squared. And so to find the area of this entire shape, you want to add up those 2 parts, 6 plus 12, and that's going to give you 18 feet squared total for the area. So then it says for part B, this is where the application part comes in. It says how much should Lisa charge the customers for the tabletop? So again, what you want to do is you want to look back at your problem. It says each tabletop costs $8.50 per square foot. So if we have 18 square feet to cover and it costs $8.50, we want to multiply those 2 numbers by each other. And so when you multiply those by each other, you're going to get 153. Remember, we're talking about how much. So now your units are going to be dollars. Okay. Now, we could do this method every single time, but this also takes up a lot of time to break down the shape and then add them up. Another method that you can use, and this is only when you're given the graph, is if you're given the graph, you can find the area using the dimensions of the graph. Okay, so let's do that now. So it says Lisa finds the template method somewhat time consuming and asks Rashid if there's a different method to determine the measurement of the tabletops. So he uses the coordinate plane to determine the perimeter area. Okay, so it says the diagram shows a rectangular tabletop is plotted on the coordinate plane. So we have this picture below. Okay, so what we want to do with this picture is it says we want to explain how to use the coordinates to find the length and the width, and then we're going to find the perimeter and the area from there. Okay, so the first part, the length and the width, is going to be, okay, by just counting how many steps are between. So for the width, that's going to be this length here. There's 3 steps in between there, so that's going to be 3. Okay, and for the bottom one, that's going to be 7 steps in between. So the length and the width are 7 and 3. Okay. for the area now, you're going to add, or not add, you're going to multiply your base times your width, and that's going to be 21 feet squared. That would be the area. Okay? For the perimeter, that's where you have to add up all of your sides. So this would be also 7, and that would be 3. So you would add 7 plus 3 plus 7 plus 3, and that's going to give you 20 feet, not squared because it's just the perimeter. Okay. So again, it's two different methods of how to do this, but you need to know how to do both. Okay. Alright, so let's make it just a tiny bit harder now. Okay. You're going to have points F, G, H, and J lie on the plane, and we have a parallelogram. So first off, it says draw the parallelogram in the grid. Just to save a little time, I drew it for you guys, but you would plot the points and then connect the dots from there. Okay, so it says determine the perimeter of the parallelogram to the nearest 10. Now, for perimeter, you need the length and the width of each one of these. Okay, so we have this is 6. What I'm going to do is I need to somehow figure out this length right here, which is F to G, okay? You cannot count how many steps because here you have like an inch, like a point of a step. You don't know the exact amount. Here's what I can do. I'm going to make a rectangle at this by taking my G point and drawing it straight, a line straight across, okay? Then also taking my J point and drawing a line straight across. Now, looking at what I have, okay, I can find the length of that red part just by counting across. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps across. And then look what I have is I have this is 2 steps up, and I can find the length of this by using Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to find the length using Pythagorean theorem. So it's going to be 2 squared plus 5 squared equals x squared. And so you're going to get 29 equals x squared. Take the square root, and it says round to the nearest 10th. It's going to be x is around 5.4. So now this right here becomes 5.4. Okay, and it says to find the perimeter. So this is 6. That's 5.4. 6, 5.4. You're just going to add up all those numbers twice, and so you should get a final answer of 22.8 feet. Okay. And then it says, what is the area of the parallelogram? Okay, so the area, remember, is base times your perpendicular height. Your height is now 5. Your base is 6. You cannot take your slanted height, so you're just going to do 6 times 5, which is 30 feet squared. Okay. So that's how you would do that one, okay? Okay, so that's on the grid, but now we're gonna focus more in on composite functions. So here's what I want you to do, okay, is you're gonna, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of these, okay? I'm gonna go through the first one and the third one, and then you're gonna try the second one and the fourth one, okay? So, for the first one, it says find the area of the composite figure shown. You're going to have this be, so there's the composite figure. You need to draw in 2 figures. That's drawing straight across, okay? So this is going to be 4.5. That's going to be 4.5. That's the first rectangle. Down here is going to be your second rectangle. To find the area, you're going to add those 2 rectangles up, okay? So for the first rectangle, you're going to do base times height. That base is going to be 4.5, and that height is going to be also 4.5. It's not going to be 7.5 because it reaches below. Okay, so multiplying those two, you're going to get 20.25 millimeters squared. Okay. For the next one, okay, that's going to be, you need to figure out the height here. So if this entire thing is 7.5, this is 4.5. To figure out that little height, you're doing 7.5 minus 4.5, which is 3, okay? And so then you're going to do 3 times 9, which is going to give you the area, which is 27 millimeters squared. To then find the area of the total, you're just going to add up these two, Okay, and so you're going to get 20.25 plus 27, and that's going to be 47.25 millimeters squared. Okay. Good. Alright, stop this video right now. Okay, try number 8. So you're determining the area in the perimeter of the rectangle with the length of 12 and the diagonal length of 13. Okay, before you do that, you need to find this length, okay, which is going to be using Pythagorean theorem. Pause this video now. Okay, so you're going to have h squared plus 12 squared, because I'm going to need to find this, equals 13 squared. Okay, you're going to get 144 equals 169 plus h squared. Okay, and that's going to be subtracting 144 to both sides, 25. And so you would get h is 5. Okay, so now knowing h is 5, you can now find the area in the perimeter of that shape. So for the first one, area is going to be base times height or length times width, 12 times 5. That's going to be 60 inches squared. Okay. For the next one, for the perimeter, you're going to add up all those parts. You're going to do 12 plus 5 plus 12 plus 5, okay, twice. And so that's going to be 34 inches. Okay. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do, okay? You can try these out. I'm gonna go through these on Tuesday, okay? Just because I don't wanna not be here for these two. But if you would like to see my work for these two, you can on Google Classroom, okay? But if you come across those on the homework, just like skip over those for right now or yes on those, and then you can go back and change it later when we go through these on Tuesday, okay? But for right now, okay, the homework is going to be the Delta Math. It's already posted, okay? Make sure that you have all these notes written down and then have them out along with the formulas, okay? It's going to be a lot harder if you don't, okay? All right, if you are done and just want to work on the homework, sign off now. But I will see you guys on Tuesday and have a great weekend. Bye.